What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So normally this would be Thursday of E3 week, and we'd be kind of looking back and reflecting on all the big announcements that had taken place. But since this year has been kind of all over the place at this point, we're actually ramping up to the big announcements, which is the PlayStation 5 reveal event later on today. I will be streaming it. I'll go live about half an hour before they start, which will be 4 p.m. Eastern time. And hopefully we'll see some awesome reveals. And we're going to go over a few things to kind of get you ready for it, because after some listings went up online, they got pulled down, we're starting to get an idea as to some of the big announcements and some of the publishers that have a chance to be there. And I gotta say, it looks like Sony is gonna bring it here later on today. Exciting stuff there. And also, I wanna talk a bit about Arcade1UP, because they announced some new cabinets yesterday, and one in particular really caught my eye. As always, guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if you're brand new here, hit that red subscribe button down below as we head towards 500,000 subscribers. And we're going to start today with Game Pass. Now, of course, every month we look forward to different games being added into Game Pass, because if you're already subscribed to it, you just go in and download it. And it was one thing when I mentioned that No Man's Sky would maybe get a second chance with a lot of people because they are adding it to the service, and that is happening. That is June 11th. They put out a big slide here where you can see all of the different games that are being added for June, and I'll talk about a few of them here. But the other thing with No Man's Sky, it will also be getting cross-play between consoles and PC, so that's pretty neat to see that. That'll be today, June 11th. And then also, we will be having some of the Kingdom Hearts games added in today, and you'll be able to just go download them on Game Pass. That includes Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and 2.5 Remix. These are only on the Xbox, though, so anyone on PC, don't get too excited about Game Pass on PC for this. And then Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. A ton of Kingdom Hearts stuff now being added into Game Pass, and that is really exciting, especially if you were someone who picked up Kingdom Hearts 3 on the Xbox and didn't get a chance to play the first two, which was, again, a strange thing to see that happen. But yes, you can go on there, download Kingdom Hearts. I recommend grabbing 1.5, 2.5, obviously, to get you through them. A lot of game to play there, too. And they're very good, and they moved them up to 60 frames, and all of this plays really well even today. But No Man's Sky, crossplay, all of the updates that they've added, I might even check that one out myself. Also, we did have a game cancellation from Konami, which is a game that I feel like if they just didn't mention, I probably would have forgotten about it. Let me know if you remember this one here. This is Hyper Sports R. Konami has announced that they are shelving development currently, just due to various circumstances, as they say. And we do know that several developers and different studios have had a hard time, whether it's remote work or just delays overall due to the conditions and situations they've been placed in with the pandemic. And again, mostly not being able to go into a building to work and having to try to be at home and get these tasks done. It can be a little harder if these companies are not prepared for it, but I also wonder if maybe Konami just was like, I don't really know how many people are looking at this game right now or that interested in it, or maybe it just wasn't panning out. It's hard to say, but honestly, I forgot about the game. Let me know if that was one that you were looking to, because they did have to update the website, which lets me know that, I don't know, 10 or 20 people were looking at the game and were really interested in it. Here's hoping that Konami maybe has better plans or other plans in general for the Switch going forward. And since, of course, the PlayStation 5 is going to be revealed later on today, at least the games will, Microsoft decided that they wanted to be part of the action too, and they released a very large post on their news Xbox site. A lot of it wasn't really new information, but there was something that was pretty interesting, and they are now letting us know that Hellblade 2 will be developed using Unreal Engine 5, which is new. That's different. We of course saw the in-engine trailer where they showed some really nice looking landscapes, some pretty crazy face animations and all of this, and it looked great. But to hear that they will be using Unreal Engine 5 is interesting for their first-party studios, possibly really leaning into Unreal Engine going forward, because of course that can cut down on, from what we've heard, development time, and it'll just be interesting to see Microsoft use that with some of their internal studios, maybe even for other projects. But we will see how it turns out here, and I do expect maybe the initiative to use Unreal Engine, as that has been kind of the rumor going around, and maybe they also use Unreal Engine 5, but we'll see how that turns out, I guess in July when Microsoft has their own event. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. We're gonna start right away with this PlayStation 5 reveal event. It's been a long time coming now. We've seen the logo revealed to us, we've seen the controller, we've heard about these tension triggers, all kinds of stuff, but the thing we really wanna see are the games. Like, that's just it, straight up, right? It was strange that we know so much about the Series X and so little about the PlayStation 5, but it sounds like all of that is going to change today. And yesterday, listings started popping up on Amazon, and there were a ton of them. Now, they started to be pulled down as they were going up, so it seemed like maybe some pages started to fire a bit too soon. However, many people on Reddit started to compile them and even took screenshots of some of the ones that were pulled down, and they found quite a few publishers that possibly could be revealing some games today. And of course, that leads to everyone speculating and even guessing at some of the games, so feel free to do that down in the comments section as we go through them. But let's take a look at the list. Now, some of the notable listings here include Take-Two 3 times, and that is from 2K and then 2K again, and then Rockstar. Okay, that's something. Now, of course, one of the 2K games could just be NBA. That's very, very possible. It could just be the next NBA 2K game, and they maybe want to show it off there. Sure. Rockstar, though? Do you think we could see Grand Theft Auto 6? Or do you think maybe they use Red Dead Redemption 2 and move it to the PS5, kind of like what they did with GTA 5, where that was a cross-gen game between the 360 and the Xbox One and the PS3 and the PS4. It's probably very likely that it is that. And then we also have Namco, Bandai, Coke, Bethesda, Konami, and then Coke again. Okay, so we saw Bethesda there, right? Okay. What if somehow Sony has an event where Grand Theft Auto 6 is unveiled and then Starfield is unveiled? That is definitely wishful thinking, and those expectations are probably way too high. Again, Red Dead Redemption 2 possibly being ported to the PS5 with extra features and better visuals, very possible there. Bethesda is the interesting one though. Maybe they do want to show Starfield. I mean, I'd be okay with that, right? Bethesda did mention that they will still unveil stuff this year, just at different times, and this is a big time event just overall for everyone that would be associated with the PS5 through third parties, and sure, why not show that? Now, the other one is Konami, and I know what we're all thinking right now, Silent Hill, and that is still, to me, 50-50 right now on if that will be shown, because I do still think Resident Evil 8 will be here, but I guess they could just throw Silent Hill in there as well. In total, 118 listings were counted for the PlayStation 5, and that includes accessories and systems. That's right, systems. I talked about this on the second channel, but they appear to spot some different storage options, and while we're not really talking about price right now for expectations for later on today, I guess they could do that if they really wanted to talk about storage options and all of that. I feel like, though, right now, Sony would rather go out there, and for what could be 2 hours, by the way, as screen grabs were pulled and people started to notice that they were saying it was a 2-hour window for this event, they could just show game after game after game, and that would sell us on it, even if the price is a bit more than maybe we were thinking, or we have to decide, okay, which storage option are we gonna get? I mean, if they roll in there with a bunch of first-party titles like the next Spider-Man, God of War, Demon's Souls, maybe Bloodborne really does get ported, and then here come the third parties with Silent Hill and Starfield, it could get ridiculous. If they have GTA 6 there, it's over, right? For a lot of people. Sure, it'll also be on the Xbox Series X, but we've talked about that effect where if it is showcased on a console like Sony's stage, people will start to associate it with that system more than the other one. It is a strategy that they use, but I'm pretty excited right now. And let me get you just a little more excited over what could be here. There is a Dead Space writer who is starting to hype something up. They posted something on Twitter and then had to delete it. Now, this was from Anthony Johnston, who said, as some of you know, I've been working on a big video game for almost 2 years now. In totally unrelated news, you should all watch the PS5 launch event on Thursday. Now, of course, Visceral was broken up, so this is definitely not a Dead Space game, I would say. If they've been working on a game for a while now, they could be part of Resident Evil 8. They could be part of Silent Hill. In fact, that's maybe, like, could they be part of Silent Hill and they're now teasing that? Maybe they're hired up for that? It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Come on by later on today because I think we are going to get a massive show and a big blowout for next gen. The blowout that we all really, really want, which is a bunch of games for the PlayStation 5. Next up, let's talk about Arcade1UP because they showcased some different cabinets yesterday through IGN. And while I'm really only interested in like one or two of them, there were some pretty interesting ones there, I would say. For example, they put out a bunch of images of them, and that does include the Miss Pac-Man cabinet that has Miss Pac-Man, Galaxian, Pac-Mania, and Pac-Man Plus. But then we get to some of the cabinets that I am really, really interested in, and that includes the X-Men vs. Street Fighter cabinet, which is X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes, X-Men Children of the Atom, and then X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. And then we have another Marvel vs. Capcom cabinet that is the Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes cabinet that has Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, and then Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. They even showed a Marvel digital pinball machine, which also looks really, really cool. And they got a little crazy with it and did a big buck hunter cabinet. Arcade1UP is just going crazy right now. Now, I did pick up one of their cabinets a little while ago, which was the Marvel Superheroes cabinet. And for the most part, I like it. I think it's a strange height, to be honest. I guess the riser piece would help, but that's like $40 or $50 on its own. I guess if you kind of wheel up a chair, it's fine. But for the most part, I like it. It's pretty neat. Now, I haven't filled out an entire room like Sean has over in his house, but I'm okay with the quality for the price that they're asking for it. And to see them pulling in some of these big Marvel vs. Capcom cabinets is exciting. I still want to see The Simpsons, okay? So Arcade1UP, get on The Simpsons. That would be big time, I think, especially for me. I would buy that day one. But these Marvel vs. Capcom cabinets are pretty cool, and to see them kind of going towards the pinball tables is also really interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on the Marvel vs. Capcom cabinet. I think they still have to unveil full pricing. They say more details are coming, but we should be able to pick any of these up by the end of the year. Next up, I have a question for some of you here. If the option came up, because I see people talk about Mega Man Legends 3 all the time, if the option came up, would you kickstart Mega Man Legends 3? We just saw Wonderful 101 get kickstarted, and that seemed to work out okay, I guess. Well, okay, I haven't received my Switch copy yet, but I got the PC version. I understand there are things going on that affected that. It's more me saying in a joking manner, but if Mega Man Legends 3 popped up as a Kickstarter, would you back it? That is the big question here because, well, check this tweet out here. This is from Makoto Tamazawa, who works specifically with like audio and is a big composer for the Mega Man Legends series and does a lot of audio work with Capcom for a lot of their other titles, as well as like Street Fighter, for example, saying, for example, if you collect money by crowdfunding, collect staff, how many people will agree when you launch the project? Please retweet if this stupid tweet catches your eye. I want to hear the voice. So that was translated, of course, through Twitter's amazing translation app. Great work there, Twitter. But I mean, that alone got 2,400 retweets and over 2,000 likes at the time of this recording. And it really makes me wonder if they could do that in the first place. That's number one, because this is Capcom. Capcom had done seemingly quite a bit of work to Mega Man Legends 3. Sure, it was for the 3DS, but there was a playable demo build out there. There's footage of it being played kind of over the shoulder. And I think Mega Man Legends 3 would at least do well enough to get the money back as long as it went to enough platforms. That would have to go to everything, like straight up. Like kind of how they did with Mega Man 11. Just drop it at a fair price, but on as many platforms as you can. We don't really need Kickstarter for Capcom. It was weird enough with Platinum, to be honest, because the game was clearly done. It came out, like a month or two after the Kickstarter wrapped? Yeah, Capcom is in a different position, I think, with some of the recent successes from their games. So if they wanted to fund it, they would do it themselves. A Kickstarter, I think, would be more or less to try to show Capcom that there really is interest in Mega Man Legends 3. But the interesting part here is people who work with or even at Capcom clearly have not forgotten about Mega Man Legends 3, and that's more or less what I like to see. That way we can at least believe that there is a chance for it to eventually happen. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Bard's Tale again. Just talked about it earlier on Game Pass for the Xbox and PC, but it is going to another platform on top of those two, and that is the Switch. They put this out here, inXile did, where they talked about how it will be going to the Xbox and the Switch June 18th, and something pretty interesting about that is the last paragraph that they wrote here on their page, and that is that the Nintendo Switch will have Xbox network integration, and that appears that it will have achievements through Xbox Live on the Switch, similar to Minecraft. And we've heard that other games can do this, but keep in mind this is technically a Microsoft-owned studio moving a game from Microsoft over to the Switch, and makes sense, I think, because, of course, Microsoft has seen some pretty good success on the Switch acting as a third party, which is interesting to think about. But remember, the first time that Microsoft Studios has been able to sell a game for 1 million copies was Minecraft on the Switch in Japan. Yeah, that was the first time they were able to do it, so clearly Microsoft has their eye on the Switch, and while Bard's Tale is small, it does show that that relationship continues to grow, and that Xbox Live integration isn't just for like Minecraft. They could throw it on something like Bard's Tale, so that's clearly not something that would be in the way for, I don't know, maybe something bigger. Halo has been thrown around. I don't know if that'll happen, but there's not a lot stopping it really at this point. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Gaming Nord saying, I wouldn't be shocked if Xbox reveals the price of the Series X and or shows a trailer for Lockhart an hour before the PS5 event. So I believe that Lockhart is being saved for whenever Sony decides that it's time to reveal the pricing in general. Like Microsoft could talk about the Series X price before Sony, and then Sony talks about their pricing, and then, oh, Microsoft shows up like the next week with Lockhart that is much cheaper than both of them. I don't think at this time it's a good idea for Microsoft to do anything with the Xbox Series X, mostly because the reason it's worked for Sony with the PS5 is because it's been so mysterious. We've seen the inside of the Series X. They released images, they had people come in and take it apart. The Series X is not a mystery anymore. If it was, and they did release something like the controller, or I guess the logo, or a game even, just showing it off before the PS5 event, it would have a much larger impact. But unless they are gonna be like, oh, Perfect Dark coming 2020, that would be a big deal. But they can't show the system and say it's a big deal right now, and I don't even know if Lockhart would be a big deal either. So I think at this time, it's best for Microsoft to kind of be quiet for the rest of this week, and then maybe release something next week with something new in terms of updated news around the Xbox Series X, or maybe a game they have coming to it. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. Enjoyed this video, guys. Hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it's the massive PS5 event later on today. The hype is through the roof. What do you think will be there? Get your predictions in down below. I mean, this is it. We're gonna see finally some next generation stuff from Sony. Very exciting. Also, what about those Arcade1UP cabinets? Do you like that they are continuing to push forward and really get creative with some of these cabinets, where you see even them going into like pinball machines? That's kind of neat there. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.